Flying for Christmas or Thanksgiving, AAA says you should book those tickets now. We'll explain ahead.
Plus, House Democrats are moving forward with an impeachment inquiry on President Trump. How Wisconsin lawmakers are weighing in on the decision.
From the Channel3000.com Alert Center, this is News 3 Now This Morning.
Good morning, folks, and thanks for staying with us on this Wednesday, September 25th. I'm Leah Lynchide.
And I'm Josh Freider. Meteorologist Hattie McLean here now with a nice dry day ahead. Yes. Another one.
Yes, we had a chance for rain overnight. A lot of us here in southern Wisconsin, though, outside of a few sprinkles, really didn't see anything. Those showers fell apart as they moved into southern Wisconsin. Still quite a few clouds in the area. Normally, we'd at least be able to see a little something on this camera shot at this hour, but still looking a little dark outside. Here's a look at Doppler track. Again, a few sprinkles south of Janesville this morning towards Beloit, but most of the area is waking up dry. Temperatures over the next 12 hours will climb to highs in the low 70s, about 10 degrees cooler than it was yesterday. Be prepared for a west wind today, around 10 to 20 miles per hour. Here's a look at your traffic maps. Those first alert traffic maps showing you that outside of a few brake lights, a little bit of congestion at Stoughton Road and the Beltline. All other routes are moving at posted speeds. No issues to report in and around southern Wisconsin at this hour. And that's your first alert traffic.
Boy, we have been spoiled this week with some pretty nice days.
We definitely have. Another one today and tomorrow, but then kind of wet on Friday.
All right.
Thank you very much, Hattie.
You're welcome.
All right, we have breaking new video into the Channel 3000 Alert Center this morning. The Chippewa County Sheriff's Department says at least one tornado touched down as part of last night's strong storms west of here. The tornado was confirmed in the town of Wheaton outside of Eau Claire. Only minor injuries were reported. Chippewa County Emergency Management says power lines may still be down in that area this morning. Crews will be out assessing the damage later today. 6:02 right now. Democrats are waiting on President Trump to release what he says is the full unredacted transcript of a phone call with Ukraine's leader later today.
They did not wait for that transcript to launch an official impeachment inquiry into the president. This morning, more than 80% of House Democrats are supportive of the move. Speaker Nancy Pelosi ended months of caution by the Democrats with the decision to move ahead with that inquiry. She accused the president of betraying his oath of office over reports he pressured Ukraine to investigate Joe Biden and his son and threatened to withhold aid if they didn't.
The president must be held accountable. No one is above the law.
Now, only two presidents, Andrew Johnson and Bill Clinton, have been impeached, but ultimately neither were removed from office. Richard Nixon resigned to avoid being impeached in connection with the Watergate scandal. President Trump is calling this decision, quote, presidential harassment.
Wisconsin lawmakers are reacting to the impeachment proceedings. Some Democrats are signaling it's full speed ahead, while there are still some Republicans arguing it's a useless attack against the president. Senator Tammy Baldwin posted on Facebook that she believes, quote, the House is taking appropriate action, while Republican congressmen seem to be largely silent online. State Representative Adam Nalen says he believes both parties should be working to address national challenges like infrastructure rather than trying to remove the president from office.
In this case, he's skipping the middleman. He's just coming out and saying, yeah, I did it, and yeah, my office held up the money, and let me save you any more time, and let's get to it. Let's dance. So I think everyone's like, all right, fine. You know, like it has solved much of what we were trying to get done through the other process, and he wouldn't let witnesses come. Now
he's become his own witness.
Yeah, you can't be any more overt than he's being.
I look forward to reading those transcripts, and I don't think he'd be so forthcoming with those transcripts and the statements that he has made if he thinks there is a smoking gun. So I look forward to this conversation. I think that there will be a lot there that proves that this is a continued witch hunt and that this is more politically motivated than it is about the rule of law.
Other lawmakers like Representative Gwen Moore have voiced their support for the inquiry. So you might be wondering what's next in this impeachment process.
Our Christina Laurie is here this morning to help break all of it down. Good morning, Christina.
Good morning, Josh and Leah. First, it's important to note that this does not mean that President Trump is considered impeached at this point. It's just the start of a long complicated process. Right now, the ball is in the House committees court. There are 6 House committees currently investigating Trump's presidency, his past, and his businesses. Members on these committees will each give their input on what they believe should be included in the articles of impeachment. Nancy Pelosi will decide what makes it to the final version, and that will be voted on by the House Judiciary Committee. If it passes, the full House will vote, and if a majority of representatives in the House vote for the resolution, then the House will have officially impeached the president. But in order to convict him, remove him from office, Congress will also need the support from a 2/3 majority of the Senate, which is considered highly unlikely. Right now, Nancy Pelosi isn't giving a timeline for this process, but told her colleagues it will be done expeditiously, likely by the end of the year. But it's still significant, only happened 4 times before in the history of our country.
Expeditious, perhaps, but certainly you can imagine this is going to be a long process. It's going to top the headlines for possibly months.
Definitely, we'll stay on top of it.
All right, Christina Laurie, thank you very much.
And of course, we'll be covering this story as it develops in the coming days, weeks, and potentially months. Be sure to stay with News 3 Now and channel3000.com as we hear more from state representatives and get the latest updates from Washington.
A local update now. The Sauk County Sheriff's Department is sharing the name of the victim in its active homicide investigation. 37-year-old Christopher Lytle's body was found on a rural back road in the town of Fairfield on Sunday. He's from Westfield in Marquette County. An autopsy earlier this week ruled the death a homicide, but the county sheriff says it's still too early in the investigation to tell how he was killed or how long his body had been there.
6:06 right now. Stephen Avery's attorney is calling a Wisconsin inmate's handwritten confession for the murder of Teresa Hallbach worthless unless corroborated. On Monday, the director of an upcoming documentary on the case told Newsweek his film crew was given a confession by a, quote, notable convicted murderer from Wisconsin. Joseph Evans of Boscobel claims he hit Hallbach with his car. Then when he panicked, he took Avery's gun and shot her. He says he then used an old Band-Aid of Avery's he found to put his blood on the car. Evans wants $350,000 for his information, $200,000 more than the reward being offered. The Wisconsin Department of Justice tells us it takes all credible reports seriously, but this new information directly contradicts information previously provided by the same individual.
The sexual assault survivor who was abused at the hands of the Wisconsin man who hid in a bunker for years is speaking out after his conviction. Allie Button remembers the first time she was assaulted when she was just 5 years old. But it happened so many times that court documents say she wasn't able to remember each one in an interview when she was 14. Now, at 19, Allie is telling her story. Her father and abuser, Jeremiah Button, pleaded guilty last week to repeatedly sexually assaulting Allie. She says Button took her childhood away from her, which is something she will never get back.
He would always use my pets against me, saying if I didn't do what he wanted to, he'd take one of my cats down the road and throw him out the window. And they were really the things that kept me quiet because I cared about them more than anything else at that age.
Allie reported the abuse in 2014. Button was released on bail later that year, then disappeared just weeks before his jury trial in 2016 to this bunker that he'd created. Allie moved out of state while he was still missing to make herself feel safe. She'll read a victim impact statement in court in October before Button is sentenced.
We're learning new information about a fire at a group home in Fond du Lac that left 3 people dead. Officials say that fire started from a cigarette that was thrown away improperly. The cigarette belonged to one of the victims who died in the fire. Once it started, it spread quickly all the way up to the attic of the home for people with disabilities. The victims were on the 2nd floor. 2 of them tried to escape. Fond du Lac officials say all 3 died from smoke inhalation. They can't say for sure if the house had working smoke detectors since they could have melted from the high heat.
More local news now. Madison firefighters say Cowboy Jack's is looking at nearly $3 million in damage after a fire at the bar last week. It caught fire on Wednesday around 3:30 in the morning. Crews say there weren't any sprinklers installed in the building. The cause is still under investigation. All right, we may be just 3 days into fall, but you might already want to be thinking about the holidays.
Yeah, especially if you're planning to fly around that time. Keely Arthur's live at the Dane County Regional Airport this morning to explain. Hi, Keely.
Hi, Josh and Leah. Yes, AAA experts say if you are going to fly for Christmas or Thanksgiving, you'll want to book those tickets starting either today or through the next month. They're calling this the, quote, sweet spot. Now, a good rule of thumb is to book everything prior to Halloween. That way you don't see choices dwindle. For Thanksgiving flights, you'll likely find the best deals for Monday the 25th, and Thanksgiving Day itself. For Christmas, Christmas Eve and Christmas Day are the cheapest. Now, last-minute travelers do get the best overall pricing if they book 7 to 13 days prior to their intended travel date. But of course, you do run the big risk of extreme limited availability.
But it's a gamble because you never know if there's going to be availability or not. And a lot of times you're left with options that may create more stress or don't quite fit the schedule that you're looking to make. And then you run the risk of having no options.
Another thing to remember when booking these flights is to factor in baggage fees, as they can vary very differently from airline to airline. And we have a breakdown of all the different costs and numbers up on our website, channel3000.com.
All right, pack your bags. Keely Arthur reporting for us this morning. Thank you, Keely.
All right, 10 minutes past 6 o'clock right now on a Wednesday morning. Coming up after the break, you're going to see a lot of yellow in Janesville this weekend. We'll tell you how mental health advocates are hoping to raise money for suicide awareness and prevention.
But first, things are going to cool down a little bit here in the next couple of days. Hattie's in next with your extended forecast when News 3 Now This Morning returns.
This
Good morning from the Hattie-O patio. A relatively mild start today after kind of a warm day yesterday. Take a look at high temperatures across the region. We managed to climb into the 80s here in southern Wisconsin. 81 degrees was our official high in Madison, 85 in La Crosse, mid 80s across much of Iowa as well. Look to the north and west, though. That is where our air is coming from today. Temperatures were only in the low 70s across much of northern Minnesota, and that'll be closer to what we see this afternoon here in southern Wisconsin. Now, a look at the Doppler track will show you that there is some scattered light rain across the region, but for southern Wisconsin, most areas waking up dry. Those showers and thunderstorms really fell apart as they moved into the southern part of the state. So precipitation over the last 24 hours. North of the Dells, there was some measurable precipitation. And as you head into central Wisconsin and northwest Wisconsin, quite a bit of rain fell last night. But for our viewing area, most locations picked up just less than 1/10 of an inch. Now, an alert day has been added to the forecast. We can't get rid of this wet weather just yet. On Friday, showers and isolated thunderstorms are expected through much of the day. Some of those may contain heavy rain, which could lead to flooding for southern Wisconsin. Here's just one forecast model that is showing you heavier precipitation for parts of northern Illinois and the southern half of the Badger State. Again, a little too early to pinpoint exact amounts right now, but we could see up to 1 inch or 2 in some spots. A live look from the Edgewater Skycam this morning. Downtown Madison, no issues with fog. Still pretty cloudy in the area, though, so we're not able to see a whole lot on these sky camera shots just yet. 65 here in Madison, so we're down just a degree. 63 still in the Dells. 66 in Prairie du Chien, as well as Janesville. Winds are from the southwest this morning, but again, they will be shifting to the west-northwest later on today, and they'll be strong at times, 10 to 20 miles per hour, so it will definitely be breezy for the afternoon. Winds should diminish later on today as the sun sets. Now, here's a look at your future track forecast model. Again, doing a pretty good job taking that rain out of the area quickly this morning. Skies should actually clear as we head towards the middle of the day. Lots of sunshine is expected this afternoon, but it will be a little cooler than yesterday with highs in the upper 60s and low 70s. Now, this evening should be comfortable, but temperatures will drop more quickly. With mostly clear skies overnight, temperatures will drop into the 40s. Here's a look at your extended forecast then. We have another relatively cool day tomorrow compared to what we've been used to. That's closer to normal. Highs in the mid-60s tomorrow, upper 60s on Friday with that rain. And then starting on Sunday into the first part of next week, right through the middle of the week, looks pretty unsettled with many chances for rain. Now let's get a look at your first alert traffic maps this morning. We'll send it over to Jason Stone, who has all the details. Good morning, Jason.
Good morning. No problems this morning on the Beltline. Drivers are slightly crowded on the Stoughton and Verona Road interchanges. Short lines forming on Verona Road at the intersections. Otherwise, no issues for commuting into Madison or around Dane County at this time. And just a slight delay on West Wash and Regent, as well as East Wash and Blair. Elsewhere is fine on the Isthmus and campus. With your first alert traffic, I'm Jason Stone.
Jason and Hattie, thank you both very much. 6:17 is your time this morning. An event this weekend in Rock County is hoping to raise both money and awareness for the far-reaching effects of suicide.
For many, this cause is personal. Here to talk with us this morning are Matthew Krieger and Patty Slatter. Good morning, you both.
Good morning.
Let's start with you, Matthew. You have a personal reason to get involved with this cause.
Yes, back in 2005, I lost my brother to suicide and went through a long journey of grieving and through a personal journey myself in 2011 and 2012 with depression. And 2 years ago, you know, the big thing for me is I wanted to wake up and do something really good for this cause. It's needed, and leave a legacy, and got involved with NAMI and Rock County and want to have some impact.
All right, so Patty, talk a little bit about this event. Obviously, this isn't the first year you guys have been doing this either.
No, this is our 4th annual 5K for mental health and suicide awareness. So we want to raise awareness to break the stigma, to make it okay for people to talk about it. This brings the community together. Somebody said it gave us one day to talk about our family and loved one that died by suicide. We want to be able to talk about it every day. You know, you shouldn't have just one day. So the event starts at 8:30. Runners start at, walkers start at 9:30. Runners start at 9:45. You can purchase honor signs to go along the route in honor of your loved one that died by suicide. And we've sold 41 of those signs already, early. We have over 300 people registered already. You can still sign up the day of or even now. You can do that at our website, www.nami.org, namirockcounty.org. And then there's a closing ceremony at 11 o'clock where Matt will be sharing his story on losing his brother to suicide, and then we will be honoring those that we lost in Rock County as well.
You know, this issue touches so many people's lives. What sort of support have you seen from your community?
The support has been amazing. We have amazing sponsorships this year, and just this brings the whole community together. That one day, it brings, nobody's fighting alone. You know, this brings the community together that one day. I am a suicide attempt survivor, and so, you know, everybody that's involved with NAMI is doing it because we struggle personally, and so and everybody that puts this event together, we're all volunteers that do it, so there's a passion and a reason behind it.
And Matthew, what has it been like to be able to work with them and be able to see all the support?
It's been amazing. I mean, our community needs it. I needed the help, and my brother obviously needed the help, and it's refreshing to have the community getting involved and finally bringing this topic to fruition.
Just one more time, let's bring up that information for this event. It is happening September 28th. That's a Saturday. Registration starts at 8:30. The run walk begins at 9:30. You two, thank you so much for coming in this morning.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, still ahead this morning, a decision on a proposed casino in Rock County was expected by the end of the summer, but the Ho-Chunk Nation is still waiting to break ground. We'll tell you why the process is being delayed. That's next.
But first, a live look outside on a Wednesday morning. Hattie's keeping things breezy in your bus stop forecast. She'll join us next when News 3 Now This Morning continues.
Cobra's
.24 on your Wednesday morning, and a crisper start out there today. A lot cooler than it was yesterday. Yesterday felt like summer.
Yeah.
Yesterday, 80s in the afternoon,
Wow.
You're right. But things are trending a little bit cooler as we get through the month of September and head towards October, so be aware of that. Temperatures this morning are still in the 60s, though. 65 here in Madison, 64 in Mineral Point, 63 in the Dells. It's a little breezy right now, so it may feel a little bit cooler. Temperatures aren't going to warm up as much today, though. Winds this morning from the west-southwest, still fairly strong, 15 to 16 miles an hour. As we go through the day, those winds shift west-northwesterly and stay up around 20 miles an hour. So it will definitely be breezy, but that is a cooler wind for us, so temps aren't going to be as warm as they were yesterday. So at the bus stop, you still probably don't need a jacket if you have long sleeves this morning. Temperatures in the 60s, climbing more slowly today, though. Notice highs only in the low 70s. Even despite lots of sunshine through the afternoon. Have a wonderful Wednesday.
Hattie, thank you very much. We're going to take a look at our coat count this morning, which sits at more than 1,700 right now. We're looking for winter coats and outerwear of all sizes, but we still really need sizes for infants and young kids. That goes for coats, snowsuits, snow pants, any kind of winter outerwear. So if you have them, you can drop them off at any Clinky Cleaners location in Dane County from now until October 5th.
A subcommittee within the city of Madison is investigating whether Visions nightclub will lose its liquor license. The entire process started because of a 56-page complaint the city's attorney's office filed. Before interviews with police officers and a building inspection supervisor started, the defense attorney representing Visions asked for much of that complaint not to be considered. They said it cites issues going back as far as 2012, which is beyond the statute of limitations for city ordinance violations.
Going back farther and farther into the past, and every year back you go, those incidents become much and more impossible for the party defending those allegations to investigate.
While those two, the male and the biker, were kind of discussing this, another biker had come up from behind him and grabbed the male from behind in a bear hug, and then the main suspect had punched the victim, and then they took him to the ground, and then all the bikers, there were 6 total, started kicking him until he was unconscious.
That right there is one of the police officers who spoke at the hearing, referencing a fight he had responded to in the last few years. This officer is one of a few who's detailing instances of violence that have happened at the club. We're expecting to hear more testimony when that hearing continues at the subcommittee's late October meeting.
Right now, leaders of the Ho-Chunk Nation say a potential Rock County casino is still in the works despite delays. They were hopeful they'd be already breaking ground on a Beloit casino by now, but their plan is still awaiting approval from the Bureau of Indian Affairs. Right now, Governor Evers is chiming in on those delays.
We are kind of waiting for some final decisions from the federal government, but clearly competition makes a difference, but I'm not sure it does in this particular case.
Now, if the Bureau of Indian Affairs approves the plan, it would then go to Governor Evers for approval. Officials are hoping to have things finalized by the end of the year.
All right, 6:27 still ahead. We have the top 3 things you need to know on your Wednesday as you head out the door.
And today is the perfect day to start making your holiday travel plans. Christmas is 3 months away, folks, and Keely Arthur is going to tell you why you should make those plans now versus later. You're watching News 3 Now this morning.
From the Channel3000.com Alert Center, this is News 3 Now this morning.
Good morning, folks, and thanks for staying with us on this Wednesday, September 25th. It might not have felt like it yesterday, but fall is in the air, Hattie.
Yeah, today's going to be about 10 degrees cooler. We do have clouds right now, kind of a gray start, but it turns sunny today.
All right, we'll get to your forecast update in just a moment, Hattie, but first, the president is expected to release his transcript of the call with Ukraine's president as the Democratic-led House begins an impeachment inquiry. President Trump is accused of pressuring Ukraine's president to look into Joe Biden's son and reportedly threatened to withhold funding to Ukraine. More than 80% of House Democrats are in support of the impeachment inquiry this morning.
The second story we're following, a new United Nations report out this morning says warmer ocean waters and rising sea levels is threatening to create more powerful tropical cyclones and floods. The New York Times is reporting that without the ocean protecting us to its fullest capacity, land will heat up much more rapidly. That report was written by more than 100 international experts and is based on more than 7,000 studies.
Right now, Tropical Storm Karen is dumping heavy rain over parts of southeastern Puerto Rico this morning, where forecasters are warning of flash flooding and mudslides. Now, the island is still recovering from Hurricane Maria. Officials are urging people on the island to stay indoors and say the worst is yet to come.
So the top three stories we're following this morning. Hattie's here now with a look at your forecast. Hi, Hattie.
Good morning, Lee and Josh. Well, we do have some clouds to start the day today. Not a lot of rain, though, falling from these clouds. You can see the Capitol and the Edgewater Sky Cam shot. No issues with fog this morning. Here's a look at Doppler track. We have had a few sprinkles from time to time this morning, but for the most part, the rain has come to an end. Temperatures are still holding in the mid-60s in many spots. So as you step out the door, it's not actually that cool this morning. We're not going to see a big climb, though, in our forecast temps. Temperatures will slowly climb through the 60s today to highs in the low 70s. It will be breezy with a west wind today at 10 to 20 miles per hour. Here's a look at your first alert traffic maps this morning. We'll see if anything has changed. Get a little busier on the intersection between Stoughton Road and the Beltline. Also starting to see some brake lights on Verona Road and Park Street this morning. Here's a look at your drive times, though. No major issues to report right now, so you're still going at posted speeds. And that's your first alert traffic.
Thank you very much, Hattie. We are following breaking news just into the Channel 3000 Alert Center this morning. Beloit police are investigating a fatal motorcycle crash that happened just after 10 last night along Cranston Road. The driver of that motorcycle was a 39-year-old man from the city of Beloit. He was pronounced dead at the hospital. No other vehicles were involved in that accident. All right, 6:33 your time now. Don't kill the messenger, but we are already 3 months away from Christmas this morning.
Yeah, that's crazy to think. Experts say if you have to travel over the holidays, now's the time to commit to get the best flight deal. Keely Arthur is live at the Dane County Regional Airport to explain why. Good morning, Keely.
Good morning, Josh and Leah. Well, whether you're traveling this winter to beat the cold or see your friends and family, AAA says if you're traveling to go see someone for Christmas or Thanksgiving, you should book those flights now. They're calling this the, quote, sweet spot. Now, a good rule of thumb for everybody is to book ahead of Halloween. That way you have a good choice of options right there. For Thanksgiving flights, you'll likely find the best deals on Monday, the 25th, and Thanksgiving Day itself. For Christmas, Christmas Eve, and Christmas Day are the cheapest. For extra peace of mind, you can always consider purchasing insurance, and the cost can vary on that.
Generally, your travel insurance, just like any sort of insurance, is going to be based largely on the value of what you're insuring. So if you have a higher fare, price that you're insuring, it's going to cost a little more generally than if it's a lower fare price that you're insuring. It's not going to be as much.
Now, last-minute travelers do get the best overall pricing if they book 7 to 13 days prior to their intended travel date. But, of course, you do run the risk of extremely limited availability. And remember, another thing to think about varying costs is with those baggage fees. Obviously, that can change very differently from airline to airline. And we have kind of a nice breakdown with some graphics and some other cost differences up on our website, channel3000.com.
All right, Keely Arthur helping us all out for the holidays this morning. Keely, thank you.
Still ahead in the morning sprint, we have new video just into our newsroom of the damage left behind by a tornado in western Wisconsin overnight.
Also ahead, and just after the break, we're taking a look at how the housing market performed in August after a pretty strong start this summer. You're watching News 3 Now this morning. We thank you for that, and we will be right back.
Ashley.
All right, 6:38 right now. We've been asking you to share your morning with us, and I think this is like my favorite photo in a very, very long time. This is just my kind of a photo. Wendy says this is her longer bike commute because she had to stop and take this wonderful photo.
This is Josh's kind of a photo for two reasons, I think. He loves water, first of all. Second of all, he loves the city of Madison, and that's a beautiful view in the background.
I feel like you just kind of like encapsulate everything that makes Madison so great right there.
Definitely. Thank you so much for sharing, Wendy. We love this photo.
If you've got a photo you'd like to share, all you have to do is send it to us over on our Facebook page.
Okay, we are taking a look at the housing market this morning. Experts say the ongoing decline in home listings continues to hamper sales. Wisconsin home sales saw a drop in August after a sales increase the previous month.
Yeah, the latest report from the Wisconsin Realtors Association found more than 9,000 sales of existing homes in August. That's down 2.1% from sales in the same month last year. They say the decline in inventory coupled with continued high demand pushed up home prices again in August. The median home price rose 9% last month to $206,000. Remember, we hope to keep the conversation going about prices in and around Madison. News 3 Now wants to know what kind of affordability questions you have or what your family is experiencing. All you have to do is super easy. Just let me know by contacting me on my social media pages, or you can also send me an email.
There is a new report out that says farmers are relying more and more on government payments. At $28 billion so far, some farmers say the subsidies will help keep them going, but see it as a Band-Aid, not a real solution. Bloomberg reports farmers expect the money to keep flowing as trade wars with China continue. The hit to exports is straining finances already near a breaking point because of a 6-year slump in prices for agricultural commodities. This year, net farm income is projected to be down 29% compared to 2013 levels, and debt to total over $415 billion. Okay, still ahead for us here on News 3 Now this morning. Hattie is tracking a cool down over the next couple of days and an alert day on Friday. Your extended forecast is still ahead.
But first, it is Wednesday, September 25th, and we want to say happy birthday to Maya, Eldon, and all the other kiddos turning 3 years old today. Thanks for celebrating with us early and watching News 3 Now this morning.
Good morning from the News 3 Now First Alert Weather Center. We are starting with clouds here in southern Wisconsin this morning. You can see behind me our sky camera shot. Things remain pretty quiet though for us overnight, but some severe weather through the northern part of the state. You can see a wide band of wind gusts and wind damage reports through northern Wisconsin. Also one tornado reported from a confirmed spotter just outside of Elk Mound in Dunn County. So some severe weather to the north, but those showers and thunderstorms weakened and fell apart as they moved into southern Wisconsin. You can really see the evidence of that on the precipitation accumulation map. Some pockets of very heavy rain through the northern part of the state. Hardly anything here for southern Wisconsin with this latest event. Now that front is passing through the area. We've had a few sprinkles, especially south and east of Madison, but things remain pretty quiet at this hour. An alert day is in the forecast though for Friday. So looking ahead to the end of the week, showers and isolated thunderstorms expected through the day on Friday. It's likely to be a pretty wet day. Some of those showers and storms may produce some heavy rain, which could lead to areas of flooding across southern Wisconsin. Show you a couple of different forecast models, zooming in with some pretty heavy rain forecasted by this particular model across southern Wisconsin and northern Illinois. Again, this is just through the day on Friday. By contrast, here's another model, not quite as heavy with those rain totals, but again, sort of zooming in on the same area of the country, southern Wisconsin and northern Illinois, getting some rain on Friday. So we'll keep an eye on that forecast for Friday. Mainly dry until then. Temperatures in the 60s, mid 60s here, 66 in La Crosse. Minneapolis has dropped to 60 degrees. We're looking at temperatures not climbing too much today. Temps in the 60s this morning. In fact, for our area, 62 in the Dells, 64 in Mineral Point. Platteville is down to 62 degrees. West winds, though, this afternoon will make it feel a little bit cooler than it did yesterday. Now, right now, our winds are from the southwest this morning, but again, as we go through the day, they'll shift to the west. Clearing is expected as well. Lots of clouds this morning, but those skies will clear for the afternoon, closing in on 70 by lunchtime today. Not climbing much higher than that, though. 72 for our high here in Madison, 71 in Boscobel, maybe in the Dells and Camp Douglas, topping just in the upper 60s today. So definitely feeling a little bit more like fall. Temperatures will cool down rather quickly this evening, and then for overnight, we're looking at temperatures bottoming out in the 40s in some locations. So a much cooler start tomorrow. Here's a look at your extended forecast. We have highs in the 60s on Thursday and Friday. Again, that alert day in effect with the potential for heavy rain. Looking quite unsettled then again starting on Sunday through much of next week. Here's our pet walk forecast. Oh, it's a twofer. Capone and Gabby Skywalker in Madison.
Great names.
Yes, love it. 72 degrees though, so still not a bad day for a walk.
Look at those leaves in there too, so pretty.
So festive.
Love it. Thank you very much, Addie.
You're welcome.
All right, the morning spread is up next, but first here's a preview of what's to come on CBS This Morning. Good morning, Anthony.
Good morning. Ahead on CBS This Morning, the next steps in the impeachment process as President Trump and Democrats prepare for an historic confrontation. House Intelligence Committee Chairman Adam Schiff will join us. Plus, it'll take a 600-mile drive along the California coastline for a firsthand and shocking look at the impact of rising sea levels. We will see you at 7.
6:51, time for the morning sprint as our team gives you everything you need to know before you head out the door.
We start with the latest on the impeachment inquiry against President Trump, with the president tweeting in just the last few minutes here. He is attacking Democrats, saying they are, quote, frozen with hatred and fear. He also claims no president has been treated as poorly as him. The tweet comes as the Democratic-led House is beginning an impeachment inquiry into him, following reports he withheld funding from Ukraine while pressing its president to help his re-election bid. President Trump denies that and plans to release what he says will be the full unredacted transcript of their phone call later today.
Next, right now the ball is in the House committee's court. Members on those 6 committees will give their input on what should be included in the articles of impeachment. Nancy Pelosi will ultimately decide what makes it to the final version, and that will go to the House Judiciary Committee for a vote. If it passes, the full House will vote, and if that passes, then the House will have officially impeached the president. But in order to convict the president and remove him from office, Congress will also need the support from a 2/3 majority of the Senate.
Thank you very much, Christina. Beloit police are investigating a motorcycle crash that killed a man overnight. It happened just after 10 along Cranston Road. The 39-year-old was taken to the hospital where he later died.
This is new video just into the Channel 3000 Alert Center this morning after at least one tornado touched down as part of last night's strong storms in western Wisconsin. The Chippewa County Sheriff's Department confirmed at least one tornado in the town of Wheaton outside of Eau Claire. Only minor injuries were reported. Chippewa County Emergency Management says power lines may still be down this morning, and crews will be out assessing the damage later today.
A new United Nations report says warmer ocean waters and rising sea levels threaten to create more powerful tropical cyclones and floods. The New York Times is reporting that without the ocean protecting us to its fullest capacity, land will heat up much more rapidly. That report was written by more than 100 international experts and is based on more than 7,000 studies.
Right now, Tropical Storm Karen is dumping heavy rain over parts of southeastern Puerto Rico. Forecasters there are warning of flash flooding and mudslides. That island is still recovering from Hurricane Maria. Officials are urging people on the island to stay indoors and say the worst is yet to come.
The rain has ended here across southern Wisconsin, but still quite a few clouds across the region. So look for a clearing trend today. Temperatures will climb from the mid-60s this morning, only into the low 70s this afternoon. Quite breezy at times with that west wind up to 20 miles per hour.
We are live at the Dane County Regional Airport, and if you're planning on traveling for Christmas or Thanksgiving, AAA says you should book now. They're calling this the, quote, sweet spot. Now, a good rule of thumb is to book everything ahead of Halloween. That way, you don't see choices start to dwindle. For Thanksgiving flights, you'll likely find the best deals on Monday the 25th and Thanksgiving Day itself. For Christmas, Christmas Eve, and Christmas Day are the cheapest. For a closer look at the numbers and true cost difference from day to day, head to our website. Leah?
Thank you very much, Keely. 2 Northwood sheriffs are asking for your help in finding a man they say is armed and dangerous. 40-year-old Christopher Freilich was involved in a domestic violence incident in Floc du Lambeau and later led police on a high-speed chase. He was last seen driving a black 2012 Jeep Liberty with Wisconsin plates. If you see him or that vehicle, you're asked to contact the Vilas or Oneida County Sheriff's offices.
The Sauk County Sheriff's Department says 37-year-old Christopher Lytle's body was found on a rural, heavily wooded road in the town of Fairfield Sunday. An autopsy earlier this week ruled the death a homicide, but the county's sheriff says it's too early in the investigation to tell how he was killed or how long the body had been there.
Stephen Avery's attorney is calling a Wisconsin inmate's handwritten confession for the murder of Teresa Halbach worthless unless corroborated. A confession from a, quote, notable convicted murderer, Joseph Evans of Boscobel, was given to a documentary director. The Wisconsin Department of Justice says it takes all credible reports seriously, but this new information directly contradicts information previously provided by that same individual.
The fire at a group home in Fond du Lac says it left 3 people dead, started from the cigarette that was thrown away improperly. Investigators say the cigarette belonged to one of the victims who died in the fire. The victims were on the 2nd floor. 2 of them tried to escape. Fond du Lac officials say all 3 died from smoke inhalation. They can't say for sure if the house had working smoke detectors.
Madison firefighters say Cowboy Jack's is looking at nearly $3 million in damage after a fire at that bar last week. It caught fire Wednesday around 3:30 in the morning. Crews say there weren't any sprinklers installed in the building. The cause is still under investigation.
Leaders of the Ho-Chunk Nation say a potential Rock County casino is still in the works despite delays. Their plan is still awaiting approval from the Bureau of Indian Affairs. If the Bureau of Indian Affairs approves the plan, it would then go to Governor Evers for approval. Officials hope to have things finalized by the end of the year.
The Brewers could clinch a playoff spot as early as tonight. Their win over the Reds and the Cubs' loss last night has their magic number to clinch a spot down to 1. That means they'll be going to the playoffs with their next win or Cubs loss. They play again in Cincinnati this evening at 5:40.
6:56 right now. Jason Stone has a final look at your first alert traffic. Good morning, Jason.
Good morning. All lanes on the Beltline are moving at the posted speed limit, except some minor congestion on the Stoughton and Verona interchanges. And no issues on John Nolan, just a few brake lights between the Beltline and North Shore Drive. With your first alert traffic, I'm Jason Stone.
Jason, thank you very much.
And we definitely have a cloudy start to the day today. Take a live look from the Edgewater Sky Cam. Few holes trying to work their way into the clouds here in southern Wisconsin. Skies are definitely expected to clear out as we head towards the afternoon. So look for more sunshine for the second part of the day. Temperatures are in the mid-60s this morning, so we're only climbing a couple of degrees today. Closing in on 70 by lunchtime, then topping just at 72 later on this afternoon. Will be a little breezy at times with that west wind. Keep in mind, if you're planning for the end of the week, Friday looks to be a pretty wet day. I've issued an alert day for the area. Potential for some heavy rain that could cause some flooding. Then it looks like we'll be talking about a lot of rain next week, starting on Sunday. Unsettled weather pattern with a front just sitting over the area, bringing many chances for rain.
Much more fall-like next week, the way it looks, too.
Yes.
All right, Hattie, thank you.
And thanks so much for joining us this morning, folks. Enjoy the rest of the day. Enjoy that peak of sun once it comes out, and we'll see you back here tomorrow morning.